Well, Ed, it's clear here that there is very much a new bishop in town here, and we are not getting anything near a carbon copy of Bishop Malone here. For many Catholics, this is probably going to come as a breath of fresh air. Simply the fact that he stood up there for a 64-minute sort of tour de force, as many questions as we wanted to ask, he took them. He stood up there and talked really off the cuff. Bishop Malone was known to be a very good public speaker, but if there was one criticism of him, it was often people would say that much of what he said felt scripted. There was no script in this performance from Bishop Scharfenberger today. He had a few general things to say. He said, "My primary role is as a pastor. I have no hidden agenda, and I have no marching orders." We did bring up with him two things relating to Bishop Grosch, who is the auxiliary bishop under Bishop Malone. Surprisingly for many, Bishop Scharfenberger said he will remain on as the auxiliary bishop, and here was his response when we asked him why that would be the case. Yeah, so he said as to why that was the case, the idea that Bishop Grosch's handwriting was literally on many of the documents that we uncovered here that were part of this sexual abuse cover-up 2 years ago. He said that he did not know this information, and he was happy that we were bringing it to his attention. We also asked him about Terry Connors, a diocesan attorney for more than 30 years, and whether he would be retained as the lawyer. His role in this scandal has been criticized. Mr. Connors has said before that he is simply doing his job and advising bishops, and that they don't necessarily always take his advice. We informed Bishop Scharfenberger that we have learned that Mr. Connors' law firm and its involvement in the diocese is part of the criminal investigation going on right now into the diocese. Bishop Scharfenberger seemed to be taken by surprise, and he said that, of course, he would look at things, but that he would be concerned about a conflict of interest if the lawyer is under investigation and the diocese is also investigation. So it appears that he will also reevaluate that point. As for reaction here, we're hearing from survivors who are saying that they like the tone of this. Actions obviously speak louder than words. Just heard from Siobhan O'Connor, the whistleblower, who said that she found this 90% positive and refreshing. So you have to think that Bishop Scharfenberger couldn't have gotten a better review than that, the whistleblower from the Buffalo Diocese.
I got someone cut away his questions on camera with my microphone. I was like, last second, I like looked at the list, I'm like, he's next, great.
I was going to walk over and check the list, but I saw you roll like,
yeah, and then I just have to roll to return faces that way. But I figure you got some good stuff.
yeah, well, these guys.
So we have learned that Mr. Connors' involvement and his law firm's involvement in the Diocese of Buffalo is being examined by federal prosecutors. And what they mean by that is the diocesan compensation program, the settlement program. We are told that officials are looking into whether that was possibly fraudulent, whether that was taken with good faith, or whether it would be part of some sort of criminal operation that was being examined here. I spoke by phone a few weeks ago with Mr. Connors, and he seemed to be taken by surprise with this and said that he's simply doing his job as a lawyer advising the diocese, that they reported all of this information on all these priests to the diocese, and that the responsibility ended there. Obviously, critics would say the responsibility doesn't end there, and they should be taking this to law enforcement. Obviously, there are questions ethically about what lawyers are allowed to describe to law enforcement when it comes to child abuse, but also the idea of attorney-client privilege. That will probably be argued out in the next couple months.
So, it started. We listened to like 5 minutes on the radio by the time we found it. Okay, so let's just hang out just because. We're just teams. Well, I was yes. So we'll just hang out.
I'll probably copy. You were to shoot a copy. Like it wouldn't take long to copy.
Well, it's clear that trust has almost totally been deteriorated, but he seemed to be sounding a positive note that parishioners would give the diocese, would give the church another chance here. He addressed collections, which are dwindling, and he said that he felt that if they charted a new course, that could be turned around. He also said that as far as answers to many of these sexual abuse victims want answers to specific information about the priests who have abused them. They're not looking for money, they're looking for answers first and foremost. He said that he would consider anything that would help victims, even the releasing of the personnel files of the acknowledged pedophile priest. So that was something that's never been uttered in this building, we know, until now. So definitely a new course being charted here by the Albany bishop, but actions will speak louder than words.